Hi, everybody. A lot of people have been asking me for my take on PayPal lately. So here we go. PayPal is one of the worst performing fintech stocks in its size category. It's down 64% over the past year, and that's even after rebounding nicely from the bottom. It was down much more than that not too long ago. So we'll start with the negatives. Why is PayPal down like that, other than the general sell off in growth stocks, which certainly plays into it? Its user growth is slowing down and unlikely to meet what the company said it was going to be able to do. In the fourth quarter of 2021 and the first quarter of this year, PayPal's user growth came in way under expectations, and the company pretty much conceded that its medium-term growth target, which was 750 million to a billion active users, currently about 430 million, isn't going to happen. So, of course, that was disappointing to investors. The company also gave some disappointing guidance. Its profitability is down a little bit. In the second quarter, its adjusted earnings per share came in about 19% lower than a year ago. And general recession fears are really weighing on PayPal stock. When you consider how the company makes money by taking a little bit of a fee from each of the transactions on its platform, an overall slowdown in consumer spending, which we're starting to see, could lead to PayPal's transaction volume kind of either slowing down or even reversing a little bit. So that would mean lower income, and the company's buy now pay later business, which it's really been focusing on in recent years, carries a lot of credit risk. You tend to see credit defaults rise when the economy turns. And if I'm being totally honest, buy now pay later is probably my least favorite part of PayPal's business. But that is what it is. So I see that as a big kind of risk going forward. But now the positives. So things that might still make this worth an investment. PayPal is still a monster company. I mentioned almost 430 million active users. It's going to process about $1.4 trillion in payment volume this year. Just to kind of put that in perspective, that's roughly 10 times the volume of Square or Block is expecting. So it's still growing. It's not like growth has kind of completely collapsed. Excluding eBay, which has been winding down the PayPal and eBay relationship, PayPal's second quarter revenue grew 14% year over year. Its free cash flow, which is a very important metric to know for PayPal, increased 22% year over year. The company increased its adjusted earnings guidance for the full year and expects to add 10 million new active users in the full year. Now, obviously, that's a big slowdown from the numbers we were seeing in the pandemic years, 2020 and 2021, but it's still growth, and this is still a company that has a lot more long-term potential. And its user engagement is trending in the right direction. The average PayPal account now makes 12% more transactions than it did a year ago. So looking forward, PayPal has a lot of optionality, which is really the primary reason I invested in this as a value investment. The company has over $15 billion of cash and short-term investments on its balance sheet right now. That's in addition to the $5 billion or more of annual free cash flow it's generating that can be used to either acquire smaller businesses. We saw PayPal acquired Honey last year. That was a pretty big move that I really enjoyed seeing. It can continue to make acquisitions. It can continue to make minority investments. PayPal has investments in a lot of other fintech companies that it could continue to lean into. It could buy back stocks if it thinks it is currently a bargain, which it apparently does. PayPal estimates it's going to spend $4 billion on buybacks this year alone. There are also opportunities to increase monetization, especially on the Venmo side of its business. Venmo currently processes about $240 billion of annualized payment volume and really doesn't generate a ton of revenue for PayPal yet compared to its main platform. So the company is making a lot of the right moves. It's focusing on small business lending. It just rolled out a small business credit card. It has a small business lending program that it's kind of expanding into a few other markets. It's expanding kind of in-store capabilities with tap to pay in certain markets around the world. It's kind of building its cryptocurrency capability. Crypto transfers can now be made fee free between friends and family, kind of like normal Venmo transactions, which is doing a great job of increasing engagement on the platform. and it's expanding some of its relationships. It recently became Shopify's payment partner in France, for example. Things like that that can really just kind of bolt onto the business and increase revenue and monetization over the long term. Valuation is a positive or negative depending on how you're looking at it. PayPal trades for about 4 times sales right now. That's near an all-time low since it spun off from eBay in 2015, but it still trades for about 25 times this year's expected earnings and about 22 times its cash flow, both of which are rather high multiples for a company that's growing revenue at a very low single-digit clip and is vulnerable to recessions, to headwinds caused by recessions and consumer spending slowdowns. So that's what I'm watching going forward, and kind of my take on PayPal. I recently added the stock to my portfolio. I see this as a big long-term play. I don't see this as a stock that's going to double or triple overnight. I kind of feel like the price had somewhat of a course correction, if you will, as growth expectations really came back into reality. Um, but I think long-term PayPal still has a lot of runway, especially in the international markets. And I think it will get to that 750 million user goal. It's just going to take a lot longer than we thought. This is a long-tailed play, and it's the clear market leader. And I love market leaders at discounts, so that's why I got into PayPal, but not going to be an immediate home run. I'm buying this as a long-term investment. This video is sponsored by the Motley Fool. Check out the link in the description to receive the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or visit fool.com/Frankel.